You often hear those in society that are inarticulate say, "I'm not saying, I'm just saying." Well, now it's my turn. Stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. And last time we got together, we were going over some old sayings and kind of reapplying them to today's times. We're going to pick that up and do that again, and we're going to start with truth, justice, and the American way. You know, when you talk about truth, justice, and the American way, one of the things you think about in the American way that is admired by people all over the world is the peaceful transition of power from one person to another. You got to have that. You can't have the guy that's out of power complaining about this, complaining about that. It's over, it's done with. There have been people that have been elected that I didn't want to be elected, Trump among them. And I said, oh boy, but you know what? You say to yourself, I'm going to give this guy a chance. A lot of people have faith in him. Let's see what he can do. That is the mantra of being an American, okay? Truth, justice, and the American way. Let's not forget our principles. There's no place like home. Yeah, you remember that one from The Wizard of Oz. But it's sort of not a good thing in this case, because there's no place like your comfort zone if mediocrity is your aim. You got to get out of the home. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to reach out, try and have your grasp exceed your reach if you want to be an achiever. So there is no place like home, no place like your comfort zone. Too many people believe that. You've got to get out there and make it happen. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That is from John F. Kennedy's inaugural address, perhaps his most famous line from speech that he gave. I think it's time for us to change that, especially in light of global warming and the pandemic. And let's make it, ask not what your planet can do for you, but what your planet. Ask not what your planet can do for you, but what you can do for your planet. Does that make some sense? Next one. Snatch the pebble from my hand. That's from the TV series Kung Fu. That was how Cain was going to know when it was time for him to leave, when he had done stuff. That is the way it works with a mentor. You learn, you learn, you learn, you learn, and then when you can finally snatch the pebble from his hand, then it's time for you to leave. But you have to know the stuff so that you can act independently and act correctly. Who was that masked man? That's from the Lone Ranger, of course. And in present day, in present times, that's the rallying cry of the female gender when they see me. Okay, maybe not. All right? But the point is, people are not always what they seem at first blush. People were wearing masks, figuratively, well before we had a pandemic. Be aware. Love means never having to say you're sorry. That is the classic line from the book and the movie Love Story. Love means never having to say you're sorry. And I say this to you, Eli, so that you know that you have my unconditional love no matter what it is you do, unless you go out and kill somebody, okay? But other than that, you have my unconditional love, and I know I speak for your mom as well. And I speak for parents all over the country. We give you our unconditional love. And that is about the only people that you can expect it from. Okay? Or a spouse, okay? In most cases, not always. I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Of course, the words of Muhammad Ali. What do we mean there? It means your chance is not always there right now, but you need to be ready, waiting in the wings, so that when your time comes, you can strike when the iron is hot. Tom Brady got his opportunity that way. Lou Gehrig, famous baseball player, got his opportunity that way. And when you have your opportunity, that is the time to strike. Make sure that you are ready, so when the coach calls on you to go into the game, you are ready to rock and roll. It's no skin off my nose. When you see an injustice and fail to respond to it, that's the same thing as embracing the side of the injustice. Does that make sense? To infinity and beyond. Toy Story. Excuse me. You know what? Too many people give themselves a ceiling. You need to embrace that saying, to infinity and beyond. There is nothing that is going to get in my way. There is nothing that's going to stop me. I feel the need for speed. Of course, Top Gun, one of my favorite movies. The key thing here is, once you get up to speed, you're establishing momentum. And momentum is the key, one of the major keys to achievement. Get your body in motion, keep it in motion, and then keep up to speed, and you will be amazed at how things bulldoze out of your way once you get up to speed and get that momentum. It melts in your mouth and not in your hands. Now that's the old slogan from M&M's Candies, okay? It melts in your mouth, not in your hands, so you won't get chocolate on your hands. But you know what? In today's times, too many people are big talkers. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and their words melt in their mouths. But if they go out and do it, it's not going to melt in their hands. Get your body in motion. Get your body in motion. Marry the thought to an action, and you create positive inertia. Only you can prevent forest fires. Smokey Bear. I always thought it was Smokey the Bear, but his middle name is not the. Okay, this is just Smokey Bear, or so I've been told. You got to stand up and be counted. Hateful doctrine doesn't need support. It only needs silent compliance. That's similar to what we said before about you can't just stand there when there's an injustice. You know, when I was in sales, I would always have people come out with me, you know, when I was manager, and one of the things I always taught my salespeople is if you ask a closing question, shut up. Okay, because when you do that, the silence creates some kind of pressure. All right, then the people can't say, well, you're pressuring me, you're pressuring me. I'm not pressuring you, I'm not saying a word. You ask a closing question, you shut up. But there was one time, there was one little exception that you could use in that scenario. And after a long period, you know, I took somebody out with me and then they reported back how we made the sale and they said, you should have seen him. He asked the question and they didn't even say anything. And it was quiet for almost a full minute. And wow, you could feel the pressure. But anyway, what do you say sometimes? You look the person in the eye after the long silence. Now this is in sales, and you say, you know, my mother always told me that silence means consent. Was she right? And in this case, when you see something going on that's not right, your silence means consent. Please don't squeeze the Charmin. That's an old commercial from TV, Mr. Whipple squeezing the Charmin. Squeezing is believing. The sign of great leadership is how it responds when it is squeezed. When things are going great, anybody can be the leader, but when there's difficulty, that's when the cream really rises to the top. My broker is E.F. Hutton, and Hutton says, that was an old commercial that they have. They would have like, they had different variations of this commercial. It's kind of a funny commercial where they'd have people in a restaurant and everybody's talking, and you see two people at a table and they're talking and there's all this noise around them. You know, one of the guys is saying, yeah, well, you know, my broker says to do this, and then the other guy goes, well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And Hutton says, and then when he says that, everybody in the room stops talking and goes like this, and they start listening. Okay? And they did it at sporting events too. They'd have like a whole crowd of people at a sporting event. They'd have two guys in the stands talking. Guy go, my broker's E.F. Hutton. And then everybody in the stands would turn and look at the guy and listen. The point is, some people's advice is worth more than others. Pandemic, hydroxychloroquine. So some people's advice is more accurate than others. Houston, we have a problem. Of course, that's from the movie Apollo 13. What's the key point there? Is you as the leader always have to be under control. To be in control of others, you must first be under control yourself. The example that we always give is when you're in the plane, the mask comes down, cover your face first, then do your kids. You have to be under control to be in control. With liberty and justice for all. Pledge of Allegiance, key point is, it's not just a select group. It's for all. Not just your group. Everybody. Everybody. You don't have it unless everybody has it. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Wizard of Oz. Ignore the anonymous, gossipy noise of unconfirmed, embellished social media threads. Can't say it any easier than that. And your little dog, too. Also from the Wizard of Oz. There was a reason she was a witch. Because she wanted to get vengeance. The little things. Stick to the main principles. Stick to the primary issues. Don't focus on the little dog, too. The tribe has spoken. That's from the movie, that's from the TV series Survivor. If you choose to belong to a particular tribe, you can disagree with the members in that tribe when you're having a meeting that's members only. But once the tribe has made a decision and you're going public, everybody must embrace the same concept. You can disagree in private, but you don't disagree in public. And if you get to that point where your conscience says, I can't agree with that, then it's time to shift your allegiance and get out of that group. Does that make sense? This isn't my first rodeo. You've heard that one before. Here's how it applies to you and me, Eli. Because, you know, I know you look at me, I'm significantly older than you are, and this is a scenario that happens with people even with less age difference than we have together. But here's the point. This isn't my first rodeo. The bull that's giving you problems, the same bull that you have, I went through as well. Principles remain the same. Principles remain the same. And frailties also remain the same. I'm talking about love, envy, greed, responsibility, success, and on and on and on and on. These things still remain the same. Technology changes. Sometimes it changes the modus operandi of getting things done, but it doesn't change the principles. It doesn't change the foundations. I've fallen and I can't get up. That's an old commercial. I think they're bringing it back a little bit where this really old lady falls down and she can't get up. You know what? It seems to me that that's now become the battle cry of mediocre achievement. People try, they don't succeed right away, they give up. In baseball, they give you 3 strikes and you're out. But that's not the way it is in life. Keep swinging. Where's the beef? Okay, that was an old Wendy's commercial where they were comparing one hamburger chain to another and saying, oh, our burgers are much bigger. Where's the beef? You don't have the beef. You know what? Focus on the main issues. They are what cause the collateral damage. Don't just treat the symptoms. Cure the disease. That's a key point. Don't just treat the symptoms. Cure the disease. Focus on the main thing. That's what gives you the collateral damage. I'm all in. You hear that at poker, right? I'm all in. I'm all in. If you want to win the big pot, you got to be willing to take a risk. Okay? And people today are just, everything is too close to the vest. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They're afraid to take a risk. And the point is, you know what? It's not like baseball where you need to get 3 hits out of every 10 to have a 300 batting average and you're a winner. All you need is 1 in 1,000. Okay, so if you succeed 1 time out of 1,000 times, you win. You win. So take the risk. Take the risk. May the force be with you. Now this one I want to explain. The #1 personal development book of all times, I think you'll all agree, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The one major idea for me that comes out of that book is that all the people that were successful, they all use the same formula. But one thing that was surprising was the way that they did it was they had an intense vision, an intense dream. That dream was delivered into the universe, and they received some mind flashes or circumstances that evolved that they could not predict or plan. My point is, you've got to have that vision, you've got to have that dream, you've got to send that communication up to the infinite partner. That is the force. May the force be with you. And when you single out that thought with intensity, with passion, it doesn't happen every night. But if you do it continuously, things are going to happen to help you to achieve that. The infinite partner wants to work with you to help you achieve. And the infinite partner doesn't sit there in judgment. There's no good or evil. There just is. So if you want to rob a bank and you figure out how to rob a bank, the infinite partner will give you creative ideas with that also. The point is, there's no judgments. It's science. It's science. You send that vibe out there, the infinite partner will respond. Success of the 500, Napoleon Hill interviewed 500 successful people of the day, and they all came up with the same thing. They all had that communication with the infinite partner. May the force be with you. March Madness. Okay? When I say March Madness, I'm not talking about the NCAA basketball tournament. What I'm talking about is once you start to march forward and you make progress, which is the elixir of achievement and momentum, your resolve will grow exponentially and you do more and more and more and more. So once you start marching, there's a madness that encompasses you and everybody in your group, and you achieve more. But you've got to begin to march. Make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it. John Houseman, okay, it was an old commercial from Smith Barney. The success formula is the same in any era. You earn money the old-fashioned way, you earn it. I will cross that bridge when I come to it. Get started on your journey. You're going to run into where the bridge is down, where there's a detour. You know what? You stop, you reset, you build yourself a new bridge until you come to another bridge you have to stop. It's over and over and over. Don't wait until all the lights are green. That's not the way you drive your car. You give yourself a little time, and when you get to a place where there's a detour, you start again. Always remember, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. Elvis has left the building.